can I get autographs? You know, all the key things you do inside the ballpark. But something we heard from the research that the students conducted with different fans in Worcester and beyond Worcester was this idea that fans are looking also for information about the Canal District and about Worcester as a whole. People wanted to see on their app information about restaurants outside of the ballpark, you know, businesses outside of the ballpark, what's around the ballpark when we come on game days. So we're not just spending 3 or 4 hours inside the ballpark, but really spending time in Worcester as a whole. And I think that sort of storyline is appealing not just to us as the team, but it's also appealing to our city partners in Worcester, City Manager Augustus and Mayor Petty. I think, you know, this tells the story of what we're building and the sort of catalytic urban design vehicle that we're creating here. So just would, again, echo my thanks and my appreciation for the hard work of these students. They conducted this research amidst certainly an unprecedented spring, some unprecedented times, but we've, I think, gained some really helpful information that can now help us to design the app and develop it and have something that in 2021, ideally, will be a really additive part of our ballpark. So just wanted to say thank you, and I will turn it over to the talented, dedicated students and to Professor Strauss to talk a little bit more about our project.
Thank you so much, Dan. I'm really delighted to tell you a little bit more about the collaboration between the students, our advising group, the Worcester Community Project Center, and the Worcester Red Sox this year. Along with my co-advisor, Professor Purvi Shah, who couldn't be here today, we and our students had an amazing experience. And as Dan has already spoken to, I think they were able to contribute in a material way to this partnership and in an ongoing way, which is not always the case with student projects that are often quite self-limited. So I want to tell you a little bit more about the student projects themselves and how they fit into the WPI curriculum. Many of you know that this year is the 50th anniversary of the WPI plan. So when in 1970, WPI made a radical curriculum shift, a movement away from the typical undergraduate, particularly typical engineering undergraduate program, to develop a project-based learning focus with interdisciplinary collaboration and real-world impacts. And so the IQP, what the students are presenting to you, or interactive qualifying project, was first done on campus, and there's still some done on campus today, but soon faculty members developed project centers in other places, Washington, D.C., for example, and then around the world. And so currently, we have over 50 project centers around the world. We have 95% of the junior class this year participating in off-campus projects and project centers where faculty lead groups of 20 to 24 students in interdisciplinary place-based team projects. These projects are sponsored by local organizations that could be governments, they could be nonprofits, they could be community groups, or they could be businesses, as with the WUSOCs. And the places that they can go now are absolutely downtown Worcester, Massachusetts, also Worcester in the United Kingdom, but also locations like India, Costa Rica, Germany, Namibia, Iceland, Singapore, and New Zealand, except not quite right now this year, but they are still interacting, though they can't travel right now, they are still interacting with people in all of these places for their projects. And so this particular group working at the Worcester Community Project Center under the direction of Laura Roberts, who's also here with us today, are the first WPI team to work with the WUSOCs on a collaborative project, and we hope there will be many more, and I know there are some in the works. The details of this project were developed by Laura in collaboration with Dan and others at the WUSOCs leadership. And as with all IQPs, the students had to consider the relationship between technology and society in their project. So thinking about the local community cultures and the impacts of their efforts. And again, this is the app that Dan was talking about and the need to think about who this fan base actually is and how the new ballpark and the team's activities at Polar Park can contribute to that. The data they collected has continued to be used by the WUSOCs after the end of D term last year as they've developed a Polar Park site, and they can see the impact of their work on a major new addition to the Worcester community. So they've done a fantastic job with this, and I'm so excited to share that with you. We're gonna have time for a few questions at the end of the presentation, so please feel free to locate the chat function and submit any questions you have as you go. Laura will be taking over at the conclusion of the student's presentation to run that Q&A. Sadly, I need to play with you guys at about 25 after to get to another meeting. This is life in Zoomlandia. I think that the students will really give you a lot to talk about. So now I'd like to introduce Abby O'Sullivan and Bilgun Dulal, who are both seniors at WPI, and they'll tell you all about what they've been doing. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you. Hi everyone, and thank you for joining us today. I'm Abby. And Billy's on this call too, and our third partner, Jerry Perez, couldn't make this presentation today. We're really excited to share our IQP project with you all. We had the amazing opportunity to work with the Worcester Red Sox and help them understand their new fan base. So we hope you enjoy our presentation on a ballpark for everyone.
So our purpose was to help contribute to making of a ballpark for everyone. The very first meeting our group had, President Steinberg called in to tell us the story of how he envisioned the ballpark to be like. One that would be inclusive and inviting to the whole community of Worcester and the surrounding areas. This led to the question of personas and how to understand who might come to the ballpark and what kind of elements would benefit them the most. As you can see from the diagram, the complete customer journey is depicted by stages. The customer journey is the whole experience that a customer will go through in interaction with the company. Personas, on the other hand, are fictional characters created to represent the different types of people and fans who will come all over to the ballpark.
Our group decided to take a two-step approach in order to develop our findings. First, we conducted 16 interviews with people living throughout Central Mass. These participants included people of varying ages, genders, and abilities. Of those participants, 4 were students, 4 were members of the disabled community, and 8 were members of the working class. These interviews were crucial because they allowed us to gather data that helped us create our survey. Due to COVID-19, unfortunately, we weren't able to do any in-person interviews as previously planned. We figured it out over Zoom, and we're really proud of the work we got. So like I said, we used this data to develop a survey. So we used Qualtrics, which is an online survey site given to us by WPI, and it has a lot of great features. One of those features being branching style questions. So that way the survey was tailored to the individual taking it. And if they said yes to a question, it would help determine what questions would be shown following that. If they said no to a question, then they wouldn't be shown any more questions relating that topic. So Qualtrics also provided us with a graphical report with visual representations, which really helped us understand and make patterns throughout our findings. So overall, we had 879 total responses. That number is crazy. We honestly weren't expecting that much, and we're really happy that we got so many responses from our survey. And we really think that the pandemic helped us a little bit, giving people some more free time to sit down and take our survey.
So as mentioned before, we had many great responses, and in our survey, people could select more than one feature they would want to see in the mobile application. So there were big 6 features that fans would love to see in the mobile application, and these include live and updated team schedules, as well as team rosters, navigation for and to the park, parking selection and status, mobile food ordering to the seat, and mobile ticket purchase and scanning. Most of these features were brought up in our interviews. So our group predicted that these would be the highest and most desired features for the upcoming mobile application.
As previously mentioned, the data from our surveys helped us develop these personas. And once again, personas are fictional characters that represent an actual user. So after analyzing the data we collected, we were able to create 7 unique personas that represented our fan base. So first, this is Jeffrey Davis. He's a single, tech-savvy, 21-year-old WPI student. He loves the social aspects of baseball games and plans on attending by walking to the game, taking an Uber or Lyft, or going with his college friends. You can see his frustrations here on the infographic include difficulties in park navigation, high ticket price, and lack of socialization at the events. For a mobile application, the benefits he would be seeking include a mobile ticket purchase and resellability, mobile souvenir ordering, and also he'd like to see some sort of sports betting feature.
Our next persona is Patricia DeMaury. She's an elderly woman who loves to go to ballpark games with her husband. While she isn't the most tech-savvy person, she would like to see live broadcasting of the game commentary and an easy ticket purchase process on the mobile application. As you can see from her event frustrations, she struggles with lack of commentary and confusing ticket purchase processes. Lastly, but not leastly, another benefit that she would love to see would be a list of nearby restaurants with deals that she can use through the app so that she can enjoy an extra date with her husband after the ballpark game.
Next is Alexandra White, a single working class individual. She's super tech savvy and lives in Whistler and is looking forward to go to White Sox games, having a few drinks and maybe to eat. Her biggest frustrations when currently attending events are transportation issues, the high price, and lack of entertainment at the ballpark. For a mobile application, the benefits she would be seeking include an interactive park layout, rewards and promotions at the park to help encourage her friends to go, and give them deals on for food and souvenirs. Since I mentioned her main form of transportation is the bus, she would also like to see some sort of feature that gives her bus schedule directly on the app so she can easily access it.
So Joe Smith is a 36-year-old family man. He's very tech savvy and likes to go to games with his family. As for his event frustrations, he struggles with high prices, difficulty in navigation and parking, and entertainment for his children. Joe would like to have a point system where the more he spends, the more rewards he gets through the app. Furthermore, he would like to see a feature where he can see availability for parking alongside the distance from the ballpark. Last but not least, he would like to have a feature that would keep his kids entertained throughout the games, such as mini games, etc., on the mobile application.
Next is Susan Hillard, a 63-year-old physically disabled individual. Since she's disabled, she lives her life a little differently and can use some different benefits from a mobile application. For example, a virtual interactive map of the park would be so helpful for Susan because one of her biggest frustrations is when she gets to her handicap accessible seat and has no room for her walker. Having this feature will allow her to pre-plan her routes and also visualize her seats so that way she knows she can access everything in the park. Also, she has some dietary restrictions, so having the menu for the mobile food ordering online on her phone will help her decide and plan to see if she can have something at the park when she goes.
Barbara West is 45 years old, and she is her son's primary caretaker. Her son Matthew is on the autism spectrum and is nonverbal. That being said, her son loves going to the games, but there are a few frustrations that their family faces when they're at games, at the ballpark games. These include loud noises, sun exposure, and shading, uneven walking surfaces, and of course, difficulty in navigating inside and outside of the park. What she would like the mobile application to have is a virtual map of the stadium in which she can access handicap routes for her family and her son, also while having premium seat options. These features would greatly benefit Barbara's family, especially her son.
Finally is Angel Ortiz, a 58-year-old engineer living in Pawtucket. He loves the Paw Sox and can't wait to experience a Blue Sox game. He's very tech savvy and is excited to use an all-in-one application at the ballpark to help him navigate the new park, place mobile food and souvenir orders, purchase a parking ticket and a game ticket to help him ease the process. On application, Angel's event frustrations will be completely eliminated, and he'll definitely have a better experience going to the ballpark.
So this is our group's benefit versus feature infographic. This infographic has 9 subsections, as you can see, with the benefits on the left and the features on the right. Now, features are basically what the mobile application will do and can do for the user, and benefits are how the users are going to profit from using that feature. For example, the parking purchase section has features showing that shows parking availability, reserve and prepay for parking spots, and display of distance and route to the park. Now, through these features, the fans and the user of the mobile application will benefit by fluid and easy parking, and also secured parking reservations for a more fluid process. This is what we would recommend for the ballpark does in order to execute every and each desired feature.
After completing this project, we are very excited additional feedback given from the Worcester Red Sox sponsors. These 2 follow-up emails from the initial report being submitted showed us the value of our research and how the data we provided was real, highly accessible, and abundant. We are thrilled to know the data is valuable and being used by our sponsors. This shows that through IQP projects, WPI students are truly making a difference. The information we provided will help create different elements of the Polar Park mobile application. The market research data we gathered will be available to the next WPI team to help continue the relationship between WPI and the Blue Sox.
Yeah, and thank you for listening. Hope you enjoyed our presentation, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, Abby, and thank you, Belgun. As Professor Strauss mentioned at the start, I'm Laura Roberts, and I'm a faculty member at WPI in the Global School, and I also oversee the Worcester Community Project Center. We'd love to take the last few minutes of this afternoon to address any questions that came through in the chat, so I'll just peek over there and look at a couple questions. So Lee has posted a question here in the chat. How long will this project go on for? So the project with the Worcester Red Sox and WPI, how long will the project go on for? Abby, do you want to talk about any next steps or?
Yeah, so we're not exactly sure how the partnership will play out between us and the Worcester Red Sox. I know WPI plans on having at least 2 projects a year, of these projects being different combinations of IQPs, MQPs, and GQPs.
Great.
And from what my understanding is that the next part will be sort of the D of the R&D. So Abby and Bilgun and Jerry have done a great job with the R part of it, and now we're looking to get into the development part of it here in the near future.
Great, thank you. Linda, I saw you unmuted. Did you have anything else you wanted to add?
No, I'm good. Dan answered the question. Thank you.
Thanks. Another question I see here is for the students. How did this project impact your career plans, if at all?
So I'll quickly answer. So from my point of view, obviously before COVID, I was really excited to go to downtown Worcester and like do interviews there. Obviously that didn't happen, but obviously through Zoom, we made most of our project done, and honestly, couldn't have turned out better. I feel like, as mentioned before in our slides, because of the COVID pandemic, I feel like our surveys and response were significantly more compared to regular times because people had a lot on their time. But yeah, it was a great project overall. I really enjoyed it.
How about you,
Yeah,
Abby?
being a biomedical engineering major, I don't think either of us plan on doing any sort of like marketing, but definitely going through this project, creating a survey, seeing the responses, analyzing the responses, all of those skills will definitely be relayed in our future, working in our different career paths.
Great, thank you. It's always so impressive the work that these IQP students do, because the projects are not related to their major, and so they became experts in marketing and persona development and learned all about the tools that they would need to conduct the project, and then took on the research. Looks like we have a question for Dan. How else do you see WPI impacting the Worcester Red Sox plans?
Dan looks like he may be frozen, so maybe we can move on to the next one, and we'll circle back if Dan's able to connect back in.
Okay. Looks like I'm out of questions at the moment. You are both working toward your MQPs soon, right? So maybe you could tell us what's next for you at WPI this year as seniors.
Me and my two partners for MQP, we're going to be working in Professor Gaudet's lab. I don't know if you guys have heard of him. He's works with the spinach leaves and the decellularization of them. So our project moving forward will be taking those spinach leaves and working to electrospin different chemicals on them to help create a new sort of Band-Aid. So it's a really interesting project. We're going to be looking at different adhesives that we can use on these spinach leaves in order to make a new Band-Aid that will both be more environmentally friendly. And hopefully, if it goes well, they're going to continue this project to make some sort of wound healing for the future, maybe for in the war. So that way it would be lightweight to the pack. So it's going to be a really interesting project. I'm really excited to work on it.
Hi guys, sorry, did you, I think I just got dropped off for some reason, strangely.
That's all right. We had a question for you in the chat about how you see WPI impacting the Worcester Red Sox plans.
Yeah, no, it's a great question. And I think, the way I describe it to people is, our ballpark that we debut next April is going to be sort of a first iteration, but it will be, I think, just one step in a long process of Polar Park's evolution. And I almost compare it to, like a software program with different updates and different operating systems. And I think the ballpark that you see in April 2021 next year won't be the same ballpark that you see in April of the following year, or April 2023, April 2024. We're going to constantly be updating and evolving as an entity. And I think WPI will be a really big part of that. I think the app is just sort of the first step in that. But as we go along here, and this really goes back to that first conversation that Linda referenced earlier, when it was actually City Manager Augustus who said, I want the most technologically savvy ballpark in baseball and ideally in all of sports, and I want it to be able to be updated in real time. So as technology advances, as maybe automated restrooms and concessions and things become more part of the lexicon, we might get to a place in 5 years where your beers or your hot dogs are being served not by people but by robots and being brought to your seats. So I think WPI is going to be really an integral part of that whole process, and really staying side by side with us as we move forward here. They can help us to not just have a great, impressive ballpark starting next April, but something that continues on like that for years to come. So I think that really gives us the tenets of a relationship here that will continue to benefit us and then benefit WPI as we go along.
Great, thank you. Linda? Oh. You're muted.
Sorry. I just like to add that in our conversations, we've talked about bringing some STEM programming to the ballpark, either during during other opportunities when they're not playing ball, or year-round when there are other programs. So we can imagine a ton of different ways that we can contribute that way. We really look forward to this opportunity to grow the relationship and to bring new opportunities to our students as well, to have a world-class ballpark in our backyard and have them as a partner is going to provide us with opportunities to maybe do some research and to be looking at how our students and our faculty can contribute in other ways as well. It's very exciting.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned STEM education, Linda, because I think that's something we've been certainly talking about intramurally. I also know that that's a big priority of the lieutenant governors. Lieutenant Governor Polito and the Baker administration have been really focused on STEM education, and I think seeing our area as a place that could help lead that forward. So I think we're going to have some hopefully exciting things to announce on STEM fronts, in the near future here, but aligns perfectly with our vision about education of those key fields. We're big on that for sure.
All right, great, thank you. Well, unfortunately, that's all the time we have. I did see one comment in the chat that the 7 personas covered every possible need that Jack might want in the ballpark. So, I mean, the students, I'm always so proud of the work our students do, and this project was no exception. So thank you all. Thanks to our students for their presentation, to Dan and the WooSox for their support and partnership. And also lastly, thanks to everyone who has joined the call today for your involvement and your support of WPI. It really helps to drive the impactful work that we do and the work that you just heard about our students. So thank you all for joining us today.
Thank you.
All right, thanks guys. We'll see you around the ballpark.
Thank you.
Thank you.